Hello, welcome to a Storm of Magic battle report. And basically we just decided that to lighten our moods a bit after the awful Age of Sigmar news, or at least it seems to be awful anyway at this stage. We'd play a Storm Magic battle, which is always fun. So it's Legions, or what's it called, Undead Legions versus Legions of Chaos. This is my army as an Arcane Phoenix, which is from the Monsters Arcane book. Nagash on that fulcrum, Casket of Souls, Cockatrice, 6 Chariots, 30 Ghouls in front of this fulcrum, and on the fulcrum is a level 2 vampire with some magic items. This is a Morn Ghoul Forge World model, but that's standing in for a giant. And then on this flank we've got 2 Terrorgheists. And on the other side of the board we've got Legions of Chaos, and that's a Brood Horror, the Glottkin, 6 Trolls with Throgg, a Stonehorn, 5 Hellstriders, is that 22 Chaos Warriors with extra hand weapons. That's the Arcane model, but he's actually level 4 Chaos Sorcerer Slaanesh. Another giant there, the actual giant model this time, and 3 Plague Drones, which never disappoint. And and behind here, which can't get in the picture, is a Bray Shaman with the Herdstone behind there. And that's it, so it should be an interesting battle. And we're on to turn 1. So we've just done movement and magic because Undead got the first turn. Basically the Ghouls move forward and the Chariots just up to the edge of this march. The Phoenix repositioned to the centre of the board. Both the Terrorgheist moved up, but not too far because these things obviously can charge quite a long way. Giant marched up as far as he could, and we're planning on an epic giant duel, hopefully. Cockatrice just moved a little bit, so onto the magic phase. Nagash cast a few spells, only 2 of them got through, a dispel scroll was used, and some other stuff was dispelled, but he ended up summoning 6 Bargheists over on that flank, and then all the way at the back of the board I've got 3, those are actually Necropolis Knight models, but we're using them as Sepulchral Stalkers, and we've only got 3 models. And that's it, so it's shooting, and we'll see if the Stalkers can do anything. So the Sepulchral Stalkers got a ridiculously good roll on their artillery dice. They got like 24 hits against the Stonehorn, which did about 9 wounds, easily killing it. So that's the end of the Undead turn 1, and on to Chaos. So Chaos turn 1 movement, the Brood Horror just turned around to face the Bargheists. These guys, the Trolls moved up and the Hellstriders moved there. Chaos Warrior stayed put. Giant made its charge into the other giant, which that looks awesome. It's a giant facing an undead giant. And actually the Plague Drones only needed 19 inches to get the Terrorgheist there, and they made it, so they're in combat with the Terrorgheist. Then in the magic phase, one of these guys was killed by a noble spell. What other spells did you get off before that one? Were there any other spells? It's just that guy was killed. Oh, you got Acquiescence off on the Chariots, so they're now movement 6 and
movement D6.
Movement D6 and All Strikes Last. And then finally a couple of Slaanesh spells went through, and eventually one was cast. They were all dispelled, but then the last one cast on Irresistible Force, which means that this Terrorgheist changes allegiances. Fortunately I can dispel it next turn, so this Terrorgheist is not in combat, is now controlled by Chaos, unless I dispel it. But unfortunately, because he got a miscast, he lost 2 wizard levels, and this Fulcrum swapped with this one, which is crazy. So probably not worth it, but at least this Terrorgheist can't do anything next turn, so I'll dispel that spell. And that's it for the magic phase, isn't it? Nothing else?
Yeah. Right,
so we're going to do combat now. Combat, so the combat between the giants, the Chaos Giant, or the Giant fighting with Chaos I should say, got headbutt and did a wound to my giant, but they attacked simultaneously. My giant is obviously a bit more brains to this undead guy, and thumped him with a club, doing 6 wounds, which killed him. So yeah, that was over quickly. and the plague drones did enough wounds. They did like 2 wounds to the Terrorgheist. They got standard and charge, so that would have left it with 1 wound remaining. My BSB had been there, but they swapped round, so they killed the Terrorgheist and reformed, so that they're outside the front arc of this one. So when I dispel, if I dispel that spell next turn, they're safe. And that's the end of the turn, so it's Undead turn 2. Right, so Undead turn 2, in the movement phase, these guys had random movement, so they moved forward a couple of inches. The Ghouls reformed to face the plague drones, and the Giants sort of moved round behind them. Bargeist over here charged the Brood Horror. The Cockatrice flew. He couldn't really use his 10-inch movement and been able to shoot to do anything, so I just moved him out of the way over there. And these guys moved up to be within 8 inches of the Trolls. And the Phoenix has a special rule where it can just move 18 inches, and then if it comes into contact with an enemy unit, it's in combat with them. And in the magic phase, I tried to cast Soul Steal on the Trolls, didn't do anything. I summoned 10 Black Knights and gave them a Flaming Banner. Blood Knights, sorry, yeah, we're using Black Knight models. Very lenient opponent, thank you. As we don't have Blood Knight models. And then I dispelled the spell on the Terrorgheist, so it's no longer under control of the enemy. And what's the other thing?
Casket of Souls.
The Casket of Souls. What did that do? Sorry, I've forgotten.
Casket, I spelled it.
Oh right, yeah. So I tried to cast Casket on the Warriors because they're only Legion 8, but didn't do anything. So I put the Blood Knights there because I'm not scared of the Trolls, and the Warriors are very close to my Vampire. So that's it, on to shooting. In the combat phase, the Vargeists did 5 wounds to the Brood Horror, and it failed all of its 4+ regen saves, which sucks for my opponent. Just stupidly unlucky. It had the same initiative as them, so it did a few wounds in return, but then it died. And in combat here, the Phoenix killed 3 of the Hellstriders with its aura attack, which is strength 4 hits, or base contact attack. Toughened none in return, but they held on leadership 7 because they get leadership 10 from the Glottkin. I should mention in shooting, these guys shot the Trolls but didn't do anything, and I think that's it, so it's on to Chaos turn 2. In the movement phase, the Warriors charged the Phoenix in the flank, the Trolls move round. Plague drones charge the Ghouls, and that's it for movement. So Chaos Magic phase got off to a good start as 2 of the dice came up as 6s for the Winter Magic, which meant they can summon 2d6 plus 3 of one of their infantry units. So we've got 13 Plague Bearers right next to my Casket of Souls. So that's just the start of the Magic phase. However, the rest of it, a couple of spells went off. Got Rancid Visitations on that unit, only did 1 wound. Some other things were dispelled, but importantly, Grandfather Nurgle Circle of Life went off onto the Blood Knights. It only killed 6, so it could have been a lot worse, but still, now I've only got 4 Blood Knights there. I don't think anything else was cast, was it? It's just those. Yeah, but no miscast or anything, so not too bad, just not a spectacular phase. And on to combat. Chaos Warriors combat phase. The Phoenix actually finished off the Hellstriders with its attacks and its burning body thing. It killed a couple of the Warriors, but I think they had like 26 attacks or something, and they just murdered it. It didn't come back to life on its 5+, so it's dead, and they ran to that impassable terrain. And this combat down here, the Ghouls actually did really well. They did 7 poison wounds and ended up causing 5 wounds to the plague drones. They lost combat, and they've lost quite a lot there. I think 9 died altogether from crumble and everything, but that's going quite well there. And now it's Undead turn 3. So I forgot to take a video for this part, so I'm just adding this in. In the movement phase, I got off a charge into the flank of the Warriors with the 4 Blood Knights.
and also the Chariots made a charge into the other flank. The Chariots had to go through dangerous terrain, and one of them failed and took 3 wounds. So unfortunately that means they're only going to be strength 4 on the charge unless I can heal them up, rather than strength 5. But in either case, their Chaos Warrior unit is going to take some heavy casualties, because they had to overrun like that because they were frenzied, so that they couldn't get themselves into a position where they wouldn't be flanked. So although they did kill the Phoenix, I don't know, I'm not confident of killing them. I think maybe they'll have so many attacks they can crumble everyone, but I think I can kill quite a lot of them. And the unit behind them, which looks like it's charged into them, is a unit of Summoned, which I'll tell you about in the magic phase.
Right, so that's Undead Magic phase. It's a pretty good phase. I summoned 9 more Blood Knights behind the Chaos Warriors, ready to charge in. I managed to summon a Tomb King Lich Priest.
Lich High Priest
on a steed, level 4. I'm using Lord of Light. Didn't get any spells off with him, but he's now there. What else? Oh yeah, and 3 Cairn Race over there, which are quite near to the Herdstone and the Bray Shaman. And I think that's it for the magic phase. Yeah, pretty pleased with that one. Forgot to heal the Chariots, which I meant to do, to give them +1 of their impact hits, but oh well. And now it's shooting. Okay, so this is now the end of Undead turn 3. So in the shooting phase, this Terrorgheist killed one of the plague drones, and then in combat the Ghouls finished it off before the giant even needed to attack. And then they've reformed to be facing towards the trolls. Over here, the combined shooting, I think the Sepulchral Stalkers did a wound to the Glottkin, first wound on anyone on Fulcrum, and now he's only got 11 left.
Yeah.
So in this combat in the middle, you see the Chaos Warriors aren't there because they lost, I think there were 8 left in the end, so they must have lost a lot of warriors. Impact hits did a few, Blood Knights did about 5 or 6 more. 2 Chariots died, no Blood Knights died, they fled and were just destroyed where they stand, and these guys are going to move, I think they have to move round to this impassable terrain. I think that's how it works, doesn't it? So we'll rearrange them. And basically the Chaos have got these trolls left, and 2 wizards, and a guard wizard behind there. So anything can happen in Storm Magic though, you never know. But in terms of pure bodies, it's not looking good for Chaos. Oh, they've got these guys down here as well. Right, so it's now Chaos turn 3. So it's the end of Chaos Magic phase. Glottkin cast Grandfather Noble Circle Life onto the Vargeist, got 21 hits, but only 8 wounds, unfortunately. So a couple of them died, take some wounds, but he doesn't get Demon Prince. And other than that, the Shaman who's hiding behind this Fulcrum cast Magical Duel on the Vampire, but didn't succeed. Miscast as well, didn't suffer a wound, nothing happened, and that's on to combat. So the Plague Bearers in combat, obviously, they lost 1, but they easily destroyed the Casket. They didn't lose any to its magical attacks. Nagash took some hits from it, but it didn't wound. And this combat, the Trolls actually did really badly, and so did Throgg. He used his breath weapon, and they didn't do many wounds, like 11 all told, but it was just enough to crumble all the Ghouls. Throgg took a wound, and 1 Troll took a wound, that's it. And they overran into the Giant. And that's the end, so it's now Undead turn 4. So Undead turn 4 now, in the movement phase, these guys reformed. I've moved my Cairn Race round, hoping to eventually get this Bray Shaman somehow. The Vargeist flew over, and the Blood Knights there, these are 2 units of Blood Knights. These ones are squaring up to charge Glottkin, not that we're doing any good. In the magic phase, all I did was I summoned some Hex Race. I've got 5 models to use, swapped out some Knights for Chaos Knights there. So 5 Hex Race behind the Trolls, and then I failed to cast Kandarak, which is trying to summon another Terrorgheist. So I just stormed 4 dice, and that's the end of the magic phase. So on to shooting. So in the shooting phase, this Terrorgheist screamed at the guy on top and managed to get a wound through, so that's pretty good. He's a Lord, so he's got 2 wounds left. And over here, no, nothing happened to Glottkin, obviously. So just on to combat. I know, yeah, that's really unlucky roll in there. So basically, at the end of this combat, the giant got thumped with club, killed Throgg, did like 9 wounds, and Throgg saved all but 3 of his saves. And then the trolls attacked the giant, but only did 3, so he's now stuck at 4, passed his stubborn test, and we're stuck like that. Chaos turn 4 now. So that's Chaos turn 4 magic phase, which is probably one of the most ridiculous magic phases ever. Basically, at the start of the phase, the top 2 dice equaled 11, which meant one of my randomly selected wizards had to take a leadership test or die, just die outright. So we rolled, and Nagash is still alive because he didn't take the test. It was my vampire over here who actually BSB, but he's only leadership 7. He failed his leadership both rolls and became a Herald of Nurgle on a Palanquin who's got like, I guess 4 wounds now. And then as a result of a miscast at some point, the Fulcrum scattered 66 and ended up over here, leaving the Bray Shaman somewhat petrified looking on his own. Other than that, I got Acquiescence cast on the giant. What else was cast? Because I've completely forgotten. Anything else? Don't think.
Rants Visitations.
Rants Visitations killed one of the wraiths over there.
Oh, Cacophonic Choir killed 4 hex wraiths.
Cacophonic Choir killed 4 hex wraiths, leaving 1 left, and then there's 1 wound remaining on this snake guy over here, because he took a wound from Rants Visitations as well, because we've got demons, Rants Visitations, and warriors. And that's it. So now it's no shooting or anything, is there? So combat, I guess. At combat, because I got Acquiescence cast on the giant, he strikes last, so the trolls killed him before he could strike, and they reformed to face the hex wraith. Right, so vampires turn 5. So in the movement phase, both of these units tried to charge the Bray Shaman, who fled twice and ended up right by the board there. Throggeist charged the Nurgle guy in Palanquin. These guys all sort of shuffled round. Terrorgheist charged this guy. And in the magic phase, I 10-diced Kandarak, because Nagash can do that. Got an irresistible force and some of the Terrorgheist to scream at this guy. And as a result, the miscast, the normal miscast was fine, but the Arcane Fulcrum miscast, I re-rolled with Nagash's power, and it ended up that all wizards are now frogs, with all stats of 1 apart from wounds. So, it's, yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure if this is good or bad for me. I've got a feeling it's good because I'm going to scream at this guy now with leadership 1. But then again, Nagash is a frog, so that's it. That's magic phase. I don't think I cast anything else, did I? Because I lost loads of dice and stuff. Right, so yeah, shooting phase.
Another video I forgot to take, so I'll add this in. The Chaos guy, the Slaanesh Sorcerer, is now a frog. I think Forge will do some arcane frog models actually. It'd be quite cool to get them one day. So he has leadership 1. It takes both Terrorgheist screaming at him because he gets really lucky on some of his ward saves. But the second Terrorgheist screaming kills him. And Chaos still have dominance. They've got Glottkin and a Herald on the other Fulcrum, and I've only got Nagash. But now this Fulcrum's empty, and I've got my Tomb King guy right by it, so he can occupy it. As long as Chaos don't like summon a sorcerer and manage to get them on in the meantime.
So it's now the end of Chaos turn 5. Just to summarise the whole turn, basically this Bray Shaman that was over there where the wound marker is fled off the board because he was a frog with leadership 1, so he hopped off the board rather. Other movement, nothing really, was there?
No,
nothing else to move. Oh, well, these guys they tried to charge the Hex Wraiths. I don't know if I summarised this last turn, but the one surviving Hex Wraith got into combat with the Trolls, drew last combat, and this turn caused 1 wound on the Trolls. They can't do anything, so it's a draw again. And combat, this wizard came back from being a frog, and yeah, killed the Throggeist. Glottkin also came back from being a frog, but it wasn't really anything useful to cast. So it's now on to Undead turn 6. Yeah, last turn. I'll just mention as well, Glottkin, after probably about 4 castings, or 5 possibly, finally managed to kill off all the Sepulchral Stalkers. That's why they're not there anymore. So it's the end of Vampire's turn 6 now. Basically, no one around here did a thing, they just moved a bit further away from the other combat units of Chaos. In Magic, the only spell I cast was Rise, and I just stopped casting because there's no point. I summoned a big block of zombies there, which has got marked at the edges. So I mean, there's basically like 48 zombies there. And basically, because I'd moved this guy, who's the Tomb King caster, moved him onto the Fulcrum, and these are blocking any charges onto them. Terrorgheist screamed at the Plague Bearers, but both of them combined only did 3 wounds because they've got 4+ ward due to the Reign of Chaos. Is there anything else I need to mention about the turn? I think that's it, isn't it? Quick turn. So it's the last turn now, Chaos turn 6. And as you can tell from that previous summary, like that's Rise, I didn't actually say though, obviously Nagash burst forth from his frog-like form into his glorious figure, which you see there. So we're at 2 fulcrums apiece now.
So they got 3 wounds?
Yes, he has. So basically, I'm just filming this a little bit now. This is reminding me remarkably of the last Storm Magic battle. I'm filming in the middle, the start of the Chaos turn 6 Magic phase. And the result from Reign of Chaos was roll a d6 for every enemy unit on the board, whether it's engaged or not. And on the roll of a 6, it takes d6 plus 3 strength 3 hits. So, you know, I really don't care about that affecting anyone apart from my Tomb King's guy on the Fulcrum. Without hesitation, obviously he's the only one which suffered any effects, and I'll take 7 strength 3 hits.
No,
I might be toughness 4 actually, but hang on, even if I'm toughness 4, which I think he might be, that's still a lot.
Still 6.
A lot. It's either 6 or 7 wounds there, so we should probably check. I've got the Tomb King's book here. So yeah, thanks. So he's a High Lich Priest. I mean, God, if you kill my free High Lich Priest, I'll be so annoyed.
Yeah.
Toughness 4. Okay, so that's 6. Okay, he's strength 3, so he's mounted actually.
No armor saves.
Oh, no arm saves. Okay.
So it's just your 3+4 basically if you can save it, which you probably will.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully you won't.
Right, let's do it.
Then I'll win.
He took 2 wounds, so he's still alive. Just about.
Yeah.
So, that was scary. Okay, so he's alive for now. I'll see you later on. Right, so it's the end of the game, end of turn 6. And basically it's equal on fulcrums because this guy's still alive with 1 wound left. Nagash is still there. Got Glottkin over there, and the formerly vampire who's now a Herald of Nurgle on that fulcrum. So it comes down to victory points, and we total them up. Chaos scored 1,420 and Undead scored 2,101. So Undead win on victory points, but actually thinking about it, it really does come down to 1 wound, because if this guy had died and suffered 1 more wound from the Reign of Chaos spell, Reign of Chaos table, he'd be dead and Chaos would win automatically on fulcrums. So it was very close in the end. Basically it ends up with a big scrum and these zombies are going to get mushed, but obviously the outcome of that makes no difference. So really enjoyed playing Storm Magic Battle. Always do enjoy them, and that's, I think, the first Storm Magic I've won in a long time, obviously thanks to this guy here.
So there's 2 main things we've taken away from that battle. Firstly, we've decided that henceforth Nagash must be banned from Storm Magic games. He's just too powerful. A combination of the 4d6 power dice and his insanely good casting abilities, including storing up to 4 power dice, and obviously being able to have a Casket of Souls, giving him plus d3 on top of that. He's just unstoppable with the amount of units he can raise. You know, 10 Blood Knights here, 6 Vargheist there, tailor picking, hand picking units to take advantage of weaknesses in the enemy list, like the Sepulchral Stalkers. And he could have raised more than 3, it's just we only had 3 models. if we had some more models, he could have raised 6 Sepulchral Stalkers, who would have then gone on probably to be a massive threat to even Glottkin himself, since Glottkin's only initiative 1. And the other thing we've realised as a result of that battle is, which actually kind of solves the Nagash issue anyway, is using the end times armies in Storm Magic is just too much work, too much hard work, because we realised partway through the battle we actually had 10 hardback books which we were having to refer to throughout the battle. I had Nagash, the rules for Nagash in the hardback book, which includes Law of Undeath, Vampires, Tomb Kings. My opponent had Warriors of Chaos, Demons, Beastmen. We had Storm of Magic book itself, Monstrous Arcanum, and the main rulebook, obviously. For that's 9 books, and there may have been another one, I think, as well. Which it actually took quite some time to even find the right book that we want to look at. That's how many books there were, and it led to us both being very tired by the end of the battle and probably rushing some decisions when we needn't have done that. So for Storm of Magic, at least anyway, we will stick to just regular armies from now on when we play the next battle. But yes, it did help to take our minds off the absolutely horrendous changes that Games Workshop have wrought to Warhammer Fantasy. Well, Warhammer Fantasy no longer exists, as you may well be aware, but that certainly won't stop us from playing 8th edition, which we've enjoyed for many years now, and playing variants like Storm Magic and End Times as well. They may have ruined the game going forward, but we can still enjoy all the rules, etc., as they currently stand. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.